Right then, thanks for tuning in. Latest video is going to be about corner betting. We have done it before on the channel, but this one's going to be slightly different because we're going to be looking at how we can use the Poisson distribution pack to supplement the corner betting selections, mainly using the motivation of teams as well. At this time of year, looking at whether they're going to need points for promotion, relegation, whether they need 1 point or 3 points. It's going to be massive during anyone's trading for the next sort of couple of months to make sure you take that into account, and we're going to be talking about that in the video. And yeah, so let's get into it. Right then, let's talk corners again, shall we? I know we've got a video already on corners, on corner betting, and this is a slightly updated one, mainly because I had to stop doing the previous corner selections just because I didn't have time to do them. And now I've got back into it and I've decided that I'm only going to be doing corner selections on the leagues that are included in my Poisson Pack, so that I can build up a knowledge of all of the leagues, which I like to think I've already got, and cross-reference the stats that I get from my filters that show me which matches should be good for corners, cross-check them with what Poisson's saying and look at the Poisson win-draw-win predictions, compare that with the sort of motivation that the teams have got, so some of the softer stuff that you can't get from statistics. Look at the over and under score lines, the probabilities of those, and basically use it as a whole package, using Poisson to drive corner betting selections alongside the filters that I've already got set up, whereas previously I was just using the filters, I wasn't using Poisson, and I think this way it just gives me a lot more depth into the selection. So without further ado, let's have a look. So what am I talking about? So these filter variables that I've got set up, I've got a database that has every single stat under the sun that you could imagine pulled into it, and then I've set up filters to say show me matches that have X, Y, and Z, and you can set up multiple filters, and I play around with the filters to see, or the variables to see what gives me accurate predictions, and I'll test them thoroughly over a number of games, paper trading, before deciding to sort of make a video about them. So for the corners, what I look at is the average home corners per match. So how many corners the home team normally get per match, how many corners the away team averagely get per match, and then the average overall corners per match. So if you look at, I don't know, say, what is it, Man United, Liverpool tonight? Was it Liverpool, Man United? For example, Liverpool might get on average 7 corners per match. Man United at home, Man United might get 3 corners per match away. Overall, the overall averages, it's not the 7 and the 3s, it's the overall corners per match for those teams away and home. So I'm looking at, when I say overall averages per match, I'm saying what are the average overall corners for the home team at home, what are the average overall corners for the away team away, and I'll be looking at those numbers and seeing what they come out at to decide whether they match up, if you like. Motivation is huge, especially coming to this part of the season. This is where I really like to trade, to be honest, because there can be a lot gleaned from how motivated a team are, and you do need to look a bit deeper into your selections rather than pure stats, I find, at this time of year, because a team could have been doing one thing all year and then it gets to the end of the year and they all of a sudden need to switch up and attack a lot more, put more balls into the box, take more chances, because they're either going to get relegated or they're going to need extra points for playoffs or championships or whatever it is. So they might not necessarily do what the stats have been saying they're going to do. I mean, generally, they're going to be in the same ballpark because they're not going to have a whole new team. Most of them aren't going to have new managers and new players. They're going to play a similar way to how they have played all season because that's how they know how to play, but with an added emphasis on getting forward in some cases, or being ultra defensive in other cases, depending on who they're playing and what the match situation is. So I find the motivation is something that you really do need to look at this time of year. Poisson over and under predictions, yeah. So as I mentioned, I'll be looking at what the Poisson distribution model tells me about the game in question, which I couldn't do before for a lot of the games that were in far-flung corners of the world because I didn't have Poisson distribution data on that. And at the moment, we've got 20 leagues. That'll be going up to 30 or 40 by the time I've done the Summer League pack. So it's a good way of making sure you're only betting on solid games with a solid amount of data, and how I can use my knowledge as well and then the Poisson over and unders, predicted score lines. If I'm getting predicted scoreline of 0-0, 0-1, 1-0, and they're high percentages, I'm thinking there's probably not going to be much attacking intent in this game according to the model. If I then look at my variables and see that one of the teams fits the bill, but the other one slightly less corners than I'd like, and I'm probably going to think the two things don't mesh together, and I'm probably going to skip that one. So I want things that are all going to line up. So let's have a look tonight. Here's some predictions for tonight. What I'm looking at: Sochaux versus Toulouse in the French second division or Championship, League 2, whatever it is. And as you can see here, I've just put the screenshot of the league table from Soccerway, that is. And as you can see here, Toulouse are looking for the championship. They're looking to win the game, to secure the championship, and to certainly secure automatic promotion. It looks like they should be able to secure that because they're sort of 9 points behind, but they're still going to be sort of twitchy at this time of the year, and they're going to want to win the game, and it's at home. And Sochaux need to win for the playoffs, as you can see. They've got an outside chance of getting second place as well. So it's always good when the away team has got a reason to attack, because you often will secure enough home corners, but the away team will just shut up shop. In this case, I don't think that'll be the case. And if you look at the corners, 8 corners, over 8 corners at evens, that's a great bet for me. I'd be all over that. Added to the variables that I've already got, it fits the filter, and then I'm looking at the softer stuff here. I'm loving that over 8 corners for that, to be honest. So I'd be all over that. Next, Oxford MK Dons in League, what is this, 2 or 1? 1? Sorry, I don't know. Yeah, League 1. So Oxford need to win to get into the playoffs. As you can see, they've got 72 points. So they really need to win. It's a time of the year where draws are no good for a lot of teams. MK Dons are going to be looking for automatic promotion, as you can see, obviously, on 83 points. Both teams need a win. It's a massive game. It could be cagey because it's a massive game. Don't want to take any risks and want to only get sort of a late goal or look to wear the team down in the second half. There's so many ways they could play it. Overs, over 10's 2.25. That's a nice price, but then you can look at over 9 at 1.80 for a bit of security. And one thing I would say that you could wait a little bit for this game if you wanted to. You could wait 10 minutes, see if it starts off cagey or not. If it does, go in at over 9, and it will probably have gone up to nearer 2 anyway. And if it starts fast, get involved sort of at over 10 if there's a corner in the first 5 minutes, and that might come down to about evens. So you want to be looking at the game. It's not necessarily a set and forget. You can use it as set and forget, but I like to actually trade and be active with corner bets. Fulham Preston, I've put this one in as there's a couple of examples here of things that you need to be aware of. So Fulham, obviously a massively attacking team, looking to secure promotion, more likely looking to secure the championship, to be fair. I don't think anything's going to stop them getting promoted, but so they're going to want the points, as they always do. They do put a lot of balls into the box for Mitrovic, but a lot of games I've watched this season, they don't shoot, and for the amount of goals they score, they don't just take pot shots. So they're not necessarily going to get as many corners as you might think. It's not normally batten down the hatches for the away team, and it's normally they'll outplay them and play them off the park and grind them down. But Preston have got nothing to play for, so this is why I put that in red. Preston have got nothing. So we're talking about motivation. I think they're 15th. They're not going to get relegated. They're not going to get promoted. What does that mean? I mean, a bit of apathy possibly from the players. They're not going to need to push for the win if it's 0-0 in the last 10 minutes. They're not going to need to defend desperately either if it's sort of 0-0. So what does that mean? Do they play with freedom and attack and try and put on a show for the away fans and just sort of move up the table? Possibly. I'd like to think that professionals would do that, but you can't guarantee anything, can you? So again, it's similar to the last one. You might want to wait 10 minutes. Over 9 corners is at 1.83. That's a decent bet. I'd be more inclined to take that than over 10 at 2.37. And again, see how the first 5-10 minutes go and decide which way to get involved. If it's completely dead, don't get involved at all. But at most, go in for over 9 corners. Sheffield Wednesday Crew, another interesting one with differing motivations. Sheffield Wednesday desperately need the points, don't they? So they're going to want to secure a playoff place in the next few games and hopefully for them push for outside chance of automatic. So that's going to be their motivation. Crew, on the other hand, are rock bottom, playing for pride. They won the last game 3-1 at home, so it suggests that they might actually try and cut loose a little bit. Admittedly, that was at home, but they might try and play with a bit of freedom. What have they got to lose? Throw a few bodies forward. I suspect the Crew corner count won't be massive. So with a game like this, Sheffield Wednesday desperately need to win. If Crew are just looking for pride, they might see pride as a draw, as 0-0, hold Sheffield Wednesday as much as they can. They do concede a lot of goals though. I think with this one, you're going to be looking at hoping that Sheffield Wednesday get the vast majority of the corners, let's be honest, so sort of 7 or 8, and hope that Crew get a few. Over 9 at 1.66 is a bit skinny. I'd normally be saying go for over 9. With this one, I'd probably be waiting. I'd wait 5 or 10 minutes, wait for the over 9s to come up to near 1.85 if there's been no corners, and get involved that way. But it's one to keep an eye on because it fits the filter, but the motivation is sketchy, and the price for over 9s is a bit low for me due to the motivation. It's up to you which way you want to play that. The final one's Liverpool Man United. I think we all know about the motivations here a little bit more. Obviously, Liverpool need to win to keep the pressure on Man City and hope that they slip up. Man United desperately probably need, well, no, they don't need it more, do they? But they just as equally need the win to try and get 4th place and guarantee 6th place. Or, either way, they need to guarantee European football of some sort, and then hopefully for them push for Champions League. It's difficult, isn't it? It's a derby as well. I know it's not a derby in terms of two teams from the same city, but you know what I mean, the rivalry between Liverpool and Man United. Is it going to be fierce and cagey with a lot of tackles flying in and broken play, a lot of free kicks and stoppages and sort of nobody wanting to lose? Or are they going to both go for it? These are the things you've got to think about. Over 11, I wouldn't be getting involved at over 11. I think that's way too high. The line is too high for a game that could be slightly unpredictable. So over 10 at 1.83. I don't normally go that low for over 10. Again, it's one that I'd probably wait for. I'd probably wait 10 minutes and look at the over 10s to get nearer evens. But again, all of these games are ones that have shown up in my filters as the stats suggesting that they have a good chance of corners. And then when you look at the sort of softer side of things and the motivations and the league tables, that's when you start to question whether they are as surefire bets as they look on the stats. So that's all of the games for tonight. The NBM subscription is now going to have corners and under 2.5 and over 2.5 goals added into it as of tomorrow. I've been working on that quite hard recently to try and juggle my time and to sort of make sure that the stats are adding up. So you'll get the draw selections, the Poisson, and the unders and overs and corners. So it's getting massive. I'm not changing the price. I'm just trying to give more value, to be honest, to make sure that people have got a varied betting portfolio and are getting value for their money. So if you've got any comments or questions, let me know. I've been a little bit slow lately responding due to illness, but I'm trying to get back up to full speed as much as I can. So please like and subscribe. It does me a massive favour. It really helps me out with the algorithms and stuff, and it just makes me feel happy. So a little like and subscribe is not going to hurt anyone. So yeah, man, take it easy. Thanks for watching.